If you don't have set 14, what do you have? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today we're going to talk about Datacron set 14. It's a fairly robust and impactful Datacron set, and I recommend that people try to work on these when you can, and for the most part, it's going to be rewarding. I would say this one is probably more rewarding than others, and it's also very approachable for a lot of different account sizes because it hits on very common factions that you're going to be farming a lot just to unlock all of the other unlock characters. So let's talk about it in just 1 minute. I do want to shout out my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all of the support. You guys are amazing. I couldn't do this without you, and I really appreciate you. And if you want to support this channel for free, guys, just a reminder that all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Just a small comment really helps, guys. And I don't get many views on these Datacron videos, despite how many hours I spend making infographics and trying to plot out the perfect sets and the perfect way of doing things. And I would really appreciate if you could, especially if you're using the infographic I'm about to show you, I would just really appreciate if you go to this video, hit that thumbs up button, maybe just let the phone watch itself, hit play, and then turn it on mute or something. I would really appreciate that. If you don't want to, then no problem. It would be very appreciated. That's all, folks. So let's stop wasting time about me asking politely for things. Instead, let's talk about the infographic that I just referenced. You can find this infographic, you can get it for free on my Discord server. It's found in the video description, the link is, and once you get to the Discord server, all you've got to do is go to the channel where it says infographics, and it'll be right there, folks. You can be the hero that your guild needs. You can see here, in fact, if you zoom in just a little bit, you can see it's just, all the different teams that you could potentially be running and what the level 3, level 6, level 9 is for all of them, the requested stats, whatever. And it goes in quite a bit of depth, guys. It even shows the Datacron set beforehand and what you can do. So lots going on there. Be the hero your guild needs, guys. Go get the infographic and join the Discord server. You can sign up to get notifications for stuff as well. And stick around there, guys, because I do upgrade or update my infographics every once in a while if I find a better build than my initial impression. So with that being said, why don't we go talk about this actual Datacron set, folks? It's a kind of a crazy one. So we have 4 very impactful squads here, or sorry, factions. Sith and Jedi, of course, they're central to the Star Wars theme, and they're very important in the game. Of course they are. And Resistance is, there's only 2 real teams from that faction, but they're both really important. One's a Galactic Legend, and the other one is just really strong and will kick all of the asses. The Separatist one is surprisingly robust as well. I think there's only 3 total teams on it, but they're all really strong teams, and the kind of teams that are going to be very relevant in both GAC and Territory Wars. So yeah, we're going to want a lot of them. I'm going to help you dissect what we're going to do with it. So yeah, the stats on this one are a little more impactful than the last set. Set 13 had a few things that was like, oh, well, I like tenacity. Sure, I'll try to, roll some tenacity. There are a few stats that were good. Deflection was good. This one, accuracy, not that great, though at least it's accuracy that applies to both physical and special damage, so that's nice. Critical chance, those are the 2 I would ignore in general. Health steal can be nice for a Galactic Legend because as they do damage, they just self-heal, which is so obnoxious when you're trying to finish one off. If you want to go for offense, you're only getting about, if you get perfect rolls, which you're not going to, you're only going to get about 70% more offense, which, that sounds like a lot. It's decent it's a lot of work, and realistically you're going to get somewhere in the 50s even if you roll all 3 or all 6 slots with that. The ones that I think are the most impactful, guys, are the health and protection max, because there's a lot of characters that just really love that. I mean, it's going to add to your health pool, and or your protection pool, and then characters like Jedi Master Luke or General Grievous, Darth Malgus, they all do damage based off of their max health or max protection. And so being able to stack those stats is really, really nice and impactful. It's maybe not the most impactful out of all the stats or groups that we've had, but this is a nice little shift from the last one where it was like, the last 2 really. I didn't care about the stats for either of those that much. So the point of this Datacron set isn't going to be the stats. Ultimately, a few characters, yeah, they're going to go around and swim all over in those stats, and they're going to love it. And it's going to be fun. But I think the biggest thing, guys, is how impactful the characters are and the individual squads. And really, so obviously there are level 3, level 6, and level 9s here. Level 3s are almost something you can ignore. There are a few times that you really want to do it. Refer to the infographic if you want more information on that. Typically, the default one is going to be the one where if something is dispelled on you, one of the buffs or whatever, then the whole rest of your team is going to get potency up and tenacity up, which, I mean, that's fancy. That's helpful. And, those are 2 stats that are really going to be a little bit good. They're not something to break the bank over. This is probably the least important level to be rolling, though a few of them are going to be good. And you're going to specifically be targeting that level 3. Level 6 and 9, a lot of times, guys, if you really look closely into it, a lot of these characters that they want you to farm are going to specifically have specific builds that you're going to be looking for. So, for instance, Trench has a really good one. It is, honestly, it's really strong. It makes his team really good. I mean, his team was already okay, and in Territory Wars, it was really good. In this current setting, though, he's going to be really good in GAC. But then the level 6, because he's a Separatist, there's also one that's kind of specifically custom built for Trench teams, because it talks about extortion, and whereas you can use that one, I mean, all Separatists are immune to daze, so that's applicable to everyone, right? But there are other ones that it's like, well, okay, this one was written for Trench. This one had specifically this character in mind, and so honestly, once you really look at it from a bigger picture, bigger perspective, all of the squads are kind of just based around these specific leaders, and so they have kind of somewhat obvious builds, I guess, if you really look at it from that perspective. So let's jump in and just look at the different factions. So we've got Rey, and she's gonna go with Holdo. Holdo is really strong. Right now there's kind of a debate whether you want to use the Holdocron or the Raycron on that team. I mean, I guess if you're not going to use the Holdocron, then you don't necessarily need Holdo to be on the team, but the long and the short of it is, guys, it's going to make your resistance it's going to make them hit harder, it's going to make them be way more resilient, and your Finn Zori team, which is already getting a ton of holds this season, for whatever reason, people have been underestimating Zori a whole lot. Even though it's a very beatable team, a lot of people have been failing on it. This team is going to be way better. It's going to be way stronger. This is a team that you should be looking into if you already have all of the characters farmed. The Finn Zori team is going to be a very, very strong one, both on offense and I think on defense. We'll have to see. The one kind of chink in the armor for this set, at least for a couple months until set 13 goes away, is that Doubt is going to, from set 13, like the level 3 Doubt that you get from Darkseid, is going to still be extremely disruptive to a lot of these different builds from set 14. And so, for instance, in the current set, using Night Sisters to kill the Zori team, if you have Doubt on the Night Sisters, which of course that requires them all to be relicked and stuff, which I only have on one of my accounts, but it just deletes the Finn Zori team, because they really need turn meter in order to thrive, and they can't get it, and they just stall out, and the Night Sisters feast. This set, even though it makes that team way stronger, I'm not totally convinced that this team is going to beat one of the Night Sister squads that is that's doing so well with Doubt. I just don't think so. So, we'll have to see how things go. Of course, come and watch me play on Twitch. You can find a link to my Twitch channel in the video description as well. It's free to watch, guys. You get notifications. It's a good time. We have a good time. I just got new emotes for it set up. So, all right, next faction, Separatists. This is probably the one I'm the most excited about, frankly. I know that Separatists aren't like the most powerful faction. They're not the most popular, and they're kind of, a lot of people think they're annoying, but I have always had a soft spot in my heart for Grievous. I've loved all the different counters that he is letting us have, and unfortunately I don't have the new cool Stap character farmed up, because I'm free to play for a month, guys. I'm trying to save up for a PlayStation 5, so I'm gonna try 1 month of free to play. It's a scary prospect, but there's 2 builds for this. Stap only goes with GAC, and only if you have the Omicron. And then, of course, you have to have him relict, which means you have to have him 7 stars, so maybe we won't be running that right away. I'll be farming him as fast as I can, but it's still going to take a while. Now, Trench is going to be one that's going to be very strong in both game modes. You're going to want the same loadout. And then Geos are actually, they're super strong as well. I'm curious to know how many people are going to actually apply the Omicron on Poggle now, because that team went from pretty good in Territory Wars specifically and bad everywhere else to this is dominant in Territory Wars and decent in GAC. I mean, it's probably going to be good. You're not going to want obviously the Omicron for Poggle on just because of GAC, but this is going to be really strong, guys. It's going to be impactful, and I think probably these are the most obvious builds. It's like, oh, you can kind of just build these in your sleep. You can tell which characters and which teams these are specifically meant for. Not to mention, you only, these are all of the characters. I guess I should note, folks, we have Separatist and Sith, and Dooku has a Datacron for both Separatist and Sith that he can roll, and they're both bad, and you should feel bad if you roll them and try to use them. They're not good. There's Jedi, obviously, all around the place. It's like love. It's in the air. It surrounds us. It penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. Jedi they do some of that stuff, less of the other some of that stuff, but okay, so Kit Fisto is a really interesting one. He's gonna make it so that you can't crit other Jedi, Galactic Republic Jedi, on his team. And right now it's looking like there's only gonna be 1 tank on the Kenobi squad, which I'm not sure. I think Cat still goes with Kenobi, but it's tough because Cat could go in a lot of different places. And Kit Fisto stuff does not help Cat at all. So we'll have to see. But Jedi have a thing that also disallows revives. It does. They do a lot of stuff here, guys. Jedi Master Luke, you can't, so he has protection to get for his stats, which mean all of his team are going to hit tremendously hard. And now that we have, most people are going to have Jedi Cal, you're going to be able to use that whirlwind ability it gives you riposte, and then everyone can call him to assist and just hit under protection, and it just deletes teams, guys. It's so ridiculous and really fun. We also have, guys, this is an interesting one. We're gonna have to bench Qui-Gon for a few months, I think. Maybe not in 3s, but in 5s. The Kelleran Beck is probably the strongest Datacron out of all of them. It's deleting all the different Galactic Legends right now. It is ridiculously strong, and I'm honestly personally farming extra shards of him right now on both of my smaller accounts. I'm doing extra refreshes just so I can get him and his squad for 5s. I don't know, they'll be okay in 3s, but in 5s, guys, it's gonna be good. I would recommend trying to farm him faster if possible. He's always been a character that's impactful, and you're gonna need him to unlock Bo anyways. I would highly recommend working on him because he adds so much damage to the team. It's right now, even without without extra protection, stacks, without the Datacron and stuff, he's already threatening a lot of mid-level teams, which, I mean, that's not like high praise. I mean, in Territory Wars, he's amazing. In GAC, he's doing decent. And with this Cron, though, he's so good that Qui-Gon Jinn is going to be like, hey, I'll just go be a Force Ghost for a while, and it's fine. And then General Skywalker, I mean, obviously only one Jedi, but there's some really interesting stuff that you can do with him. You're going to be able to boost his damage by quite a bit, just because of the way he interacts with some of that stuff. Sith, there's a lot of stuff, guys. First off, the new Wampa guys, you know how Wampa just fights alone? Kind of like how the cheese stands alone, but Wampa fights. Darth Sidious has a Cron like that, and it's gonna be so dumb, guys. He auto deletes characters when they have a lot, like 5 dots on them, and he resets his cooldowns. He's immune to all sorts of, like, he's gonna be bonkers, and he's a pretty standard. I mean, a lot of people have Sith Eternal Emperor at this point, so you already have a Relic 7 Darth Sidious. Absolutely one of the first ones you want to target. Bane has already been so obnoxious in GAC, and he's got a Cron. It's gonna be, I don't even, it's like, do you need this? Probably not. Like, we're just going to get spoiled with it. And then we're going to go into fights later and be like, oh yeah, Bane beat everything before. When this Datacron's done, we're like, oh yeah, he still beats everything. And then narrator's going to be like, he didn't. It'll be tragic, and I will laugh at you. So Traya is an interesting one. Because, well, I don't even have her on, oh yeah, I do have her on the list. She's, you almost don't, I said, man, it comes from a place of bitterness in my heart to say that she's unnecessary, just because you have so many different really strong teams at this point. But Traya has some cool builds with Sith. I mean, she's going to be made stronger by the Sith Crons, as you might suspect. But we also have Sith Eternal Emperor, who's not going to go with Bane after all. You can tell, actually, guys, it's a little funny. The Bane Cron actually has a clause that talks about his interactions with Sith Eternal, with linked characters and stuff, and you can tell that CG fully intended Bane to hang out with Sith Eternal Emperor, and did not think that he was just going to go hang out alone and just sacrifice Sith Assassin for his own joy. But that's how it is, and so Sith Eternal Emperor, though, as he's getting rid of his guys, can just keep sacrificing them and get stronger, which is kind of sad and awesome at the same time. Malgus just wants health. Man, he is crazy with all the health that keeps his damage just skyrockets. It's really fun to see. Vader, it's really interesting, guys. There's a Sith Cron that says when your opponent takes damage at the start of their turn, your Sith allies get 2% turn meter, and so if you put him on a Starkiller team, he's kind of survivable, and once you get enough stacks, he's going to just take unlimited turns, and I'm really interested to see how that goes. And with Starkiller, you can't be dazed or stunned, so I'm hoping that's going to be interesting. That's just I mean, in theory, I have no idea if it's going to be good. So how do you choose, guys? I would say if you can get Kelleran back, get Kelleran back. If you can if you probably have at least one Jedi squad that I listed, work on one of those. Separatists are all going to be really good. Honestly, all of the ones are good. You can see on my infographic, there's going to be a list of like kind of the ones that you should prioritize. I think there's 6 toward the top that you can be looking at. And honestly, guys, I can't tell you all the stuff that's in that infographic because there's just a lot. It's multiple hours of research and crafting in Photoshop to get that to where it's at. So I hope that it's going to be a good resource for you. Guys, I'm going to let you go. Let me know what combos you're looking forward to. I'm probably missed something. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.